Hello, my name is Monty Holland, and today we're going to talk a little bit about myself, my Tayion journey, and where we plan to take this company in the not so far future. So let's get going.
And you keep a secret, you keep a secret. Secret, secret. And you keep a secret, secret.
And you keep a secret. The Tayion collection's at DK just in time for Father's Day.
Hey, what's up, Atlanta? This is Monty Holland, better known as Tayion.
But before I get going, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things I'm going to be bringing up, like adages, cliches. And the only reason I bring that up is because I try my best to live my life in direct line with some of these adages, as well as run my company in a way that lines up with these adages. For instance, there's no growth in the comfort zone, no comfort in the growth zone. I learned that early in life, and I try to make myself uncomfortable every day in an effort to grow every day. I was raised in inner city Detroit with my 3 sisters and my single parent household with my wonderful mom. I'm a product of the Detroit public school system, a proud Cody Comet of 1986. From high school, I transitioned into the United States Marine Corps, learning many things like protecting your civil liberties. I also learned one more very valuable lesson: how to adapt, adjust, and overcome obstacles. That will prove to be very instrumental in my life. During my time in the United States Marine Corps, I traveled the world, and one of those places that stands out most to me was my time spent in Japan. Spent some time on Mount Fuji as well as in Okinawa, Japan. But while there, we would get holiday breaks where we could travel to other places in Asia. So I would go to Korea. I would go to places like the Philippines. And in those countries, they had these little small pop-up apparel shops on every corner. So I would go to these places and I would source the fabric. I would choose the buttons and the trim, and I would put these pieces together, put this button on it, make this lapel, do this, do that, and not knowing I was designing, but I was actually putting together a line, teaching myself how to actually design a collection, because back home, I had no idea how to get into the apparel industry. Once my tour of duty was over, I go to college, and guys are asking me, hey, how can I get a garment like that? Where can I get something like that? I then started to use my contacts overseas to have garments made for them. So it was more like a hobby type of a thing. I then became known as the suit guy. So from there, I leave graduate school, I start my career in education. I'm teaching high school, same type of feedback. Monty, where can I get a garment like that? How can I get a suit like that? I will use my contacts that I made overseas, make garments for guys, more on the custom side. So then I leave the education world, go to Anheuser-Busch, the same type of thing happens. I leave Anheuser-Busch and I go into corporate America for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, the #1 pharmaceutical company in the world. And I was arguably 1 or 2 in my specific area in the country. I was actually on the launch team for that little blue pill that became notorious and famous. Sometimes most people will lean towards saying stepped out on faith. Well, I think it's more than that. I stepped out on motivation, hard work, and faith. I decided to step out and take some of those garments that I had made for myself to this trade show. The trade show is called the Magic Show. It's held biannually, 2 times a year in Las Vegas, the largest apparel trade show in the world, I believe, but certainly in the United States. It's where all the moving parts in the apparel industry are taking place at one time. So you have the manufacturers there, you have the buyers there, you have the celebrities and launching their lines there, you have the manufacturers from around the world there, and the fabric mills from around the world that are there in sourcing. So people go there to meet the fabric mills and then meet the production houses. I go to this show, I had the smallest booth available, a 10 by 10 soft cloth booth. I had 12 pieces of my own personal garments out of my closet. If it was black, it was black. If it was blue, it was blue. We did not know how to maximize or leverage our economies of scale. While at this show, we created quite the buzz in that little 10 by 10 soft cloth booth. My guys were walking around handing out my little makeshift flyer, and stores were coming from around the country sitting at my booth writing orders for my product. So now we have this national distribution, big box implication. There was a lot of excitement. There were celebrities wearing it. It was on television shows, all the big pastors. I'm seeing it on red carpets. I'm just excited about, what's happening with the brand. But here's the problem. I did not understand the business side of it fully. So here comes the licensing, here comes the issues, and all of the different people saying, hey, Monty, we're licensing companies and we want to license your brand. And what that means is these are companies that have infrastructure, sales teams, brick and mortar, as well as relationships with fabric mills and factories. So we decided that after a couple of tries with different licensees to take control of our own brand and do it ourselves, because I had experience with traveling abroad, I had experience with sourcing abroad. So I decided to take a few trips by myself and with groups like the MEDC, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, a group out of DC, the Department of Commerce. And I went to places like Russia, Germany, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Ningbo, and Istanbul, where we're currently partnering with a wonderful manufacturing group. This group has the capabilities that none of the other factories I've ever met have. These guys are able to turn product quickly. They make a beautifully made high-level European production piece. They have over 22,000 square meters of factory space, over 400 employees, and they produce over 1,000 pieces a day. And they're investing in the company right now in an effort to scale to 1,500 pieces per day. We've partnered together to create a global brand as well as create my new collection. And that new collection is ready right now. So let's get into it.
And you keep a secret, you keep a secret. Secret, secret. And you secret, secret.
So what does the future hold for Tayion? Well, I'm even more excited to talk about the future because we're currently into that future right now. As I mentioned earlier, we have a brand new deal or partnership with my Istanbul factory that's going to be launching our global brand in early 2020. We've just completed my new collection for both Tayion and T-Fusion, and that line is beautiful. The line is fresh. The line has the same creative, innovative designs that the customer across the country has become accustomed to. It's at a very fair and equitable price point. And I think you'll be surprised at how we scaled our portfolio to include many more categories: shirts, pants, accessories, jackets, and a few other gems that we'll talk about a little later on. But regarding that factory and my partnership, it's going to take Tayion to a whole new level because we're going to launch our first brick and mortar command center, if you will, that's going to be warehousing, distribution. We're going to launch our van initiative / mobile store initiative from that very spot. We're going to run our e-commerce initiative from that same spot. Okay, so this factory that we have partnered with, they're very excited and very committed to work with my brand because it's going to expand their portfolio into the American market, which is highly desirable by any factory that does not have America in their portfolio. They currently ship around the world with the exception of America. They have tremendous capabilities, fast turn time, high quality European production, global reach, over 30 years of experience, the ability to develop and create a broad range of categories.
Of the all-new Tayion suit collection, designed by Detroit's own Monty Tayion Holland. Monty Tayion Holland. Monty Tayion Holland. Monty Tayion Holland.
Hey Detroit, what's going on? This is Monty Holland, also known as Tayion.